Good morning, and it's Lilia from Heal Scotland and Scotland's Wild Medicine Festivals. And today I have with me Woodland Elements, Diane Oliver, who is going to be presenting at the Skye Wild Medicine Festival. How are you, my darling?
I'm fine, thank you, and thanks for having us. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, I'm really delighted that you're going to be at Skye because you couldn't be at Tarbert because you're busy. You've got a nice lifestyle where you take time for yourself. But you like a lot of people have spoken to have just such a wide range of skills now that you bring to your kind of very unique yoga flow. And we're going to be talking a lot about flow at the actual opening ceremony and how when energy flows, life is easier. So can you just start off by telling us a wee bit of your background story, how you got into yoga in the first place? And I know you do, well, you tell me, because you worked in the community as well, didn't you? And
yeah, so I kind of crept into my life. So I was really lucky to be part of a community dance company when I was a teenager. And we got to practice yoga as part of that. We did a lot of body movement, a lot of relaxation, a lot of guided meditation. And I didn't know that was what it all was at the time. But then they would kind of say, oh, that was a yoga sequence, or that's from yoga. And so yoga's been a part of my life since then. And I've dipped in and out of various styles over the years. And I always just knew that yoga helped me feel better. My life went smoother. I was calmer. I maybe wasn't quite as grumpy, all that kind of stuff. And and then I ended up working in community development for a long, long time, supporting community organisations and to development. So I'm really into empowering and enabling folk to do stuff for themselves. I'm kind of like, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because it's just finding the right techniques and tools that work for yourself. So I've tried lots of different things. And then when I decided to train in yoga, it was because my yoga teacher at the time retired, and I was kind of like, oh, I've got no yoga class. Ooh. And I thought, well, I can't moan about that, can I? Be the change you want to see and all that. So I was like, well, okay, I'll go and train to be a yoga teacher. And I was like, oh, there's all these millions of flavors of yoga. How do I pick one? I never knew what one I went to. I just went to a yoga class. If I liked it, I went back. If I didn't like it, I found another one. And so I put all the bits and pieces that I'd liked over the years into Google, and it brought up Drew Yoga top of the list. So that's how I decided to train with Drew. And it wasn't until I started my course and went, oh, I've done these sequences before, that I realised I'd been to a Drew Yoga class more than, I don't know, about 15, 20 years beforehand. And it had always stuck with me. Yeah. And then because of
quite a clever way to go about it, because, I wouldn't have thought of doing that. Thanks for the tip.
So Google's an amazing thing.
I know. Can you explain? Because there's so many different kinds of yoga now, isn't there? I mean, there's hatha, what's the combat one? Ashtanga, yin, seasonal. There's, and also people are making things their own, which I absolutely love. I think, that's what we all do, isn't it? We do all these different trainings and then we make something that we've really enjoyed out of it, like what you did with Google. You're like, this is what I like. So it came up with something for you. So what's different about Drew?
Well, for me, Drew's very therapeutic, but Drew's another one. So it's been around for about 45 years or so. And it was a group of students who met at Bangor University who also decided to be the change they wanted to see. So they came together and blended all their skills and knowledge in their own practice around yoga and meditation, and it emerged as Drew. So Drew comes from the Sanskrit Dhruva, which is about the North Star and the still point. So it's about finding that still point within. And for me, a lot of their sequences are all about releasing the energy and emotions that we hold in our bodies. So you know what it's like. You do something and you react and you go, oh, and that tension gets stuffed away, or you have an experience that maybe wasn't so positive. And instead of being able to release that, we just stuff it all down into the muscles, into the bones, into the cells. And until we move or can find a way to release that, it hangs around, as you know, until we find a way to let it go. And it's
I was just going to say, you're talking my language there, sister.
Absolutely. So that's why I love Drew, is because it is all about releasing and letting that go, to make space for the light and make space within, and find that still point and find that connection to your body. So the sequences are designed to benefit our physical, our mental, and our spiritual well-being. So they're all about finding that balance between all of them and just releasing to let go and find that well-being. So it's a very therapeutic form of yoga, and it can be modified as well. So it's all about honoring the conditions and the old energies. You know, our bodies are filled with that life experience. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's about just finding how we support ourselves and find that compassion in our hearts to really take care of ourselves.
I think that's a really good point. It's we know the body's holding the score. We understand that. There's lots of books, and Gabor Mate's really, explained that we all know we're carrying a level of information from our ancestors, basically from our conception all the way to here. And I think, certainly when I was younger, exercise was all about making my body look better. I had absolutely no idea. I mean, obviously, I had 3 young children and I taught aerobics, and I think that's probably why I'm still alive. I didn't realise that I was putting my stress out, all the stress hormones were getting a place to go when I was teaching 3 to 5 times a week. I didn't realise that was helping keeping me well. But I think now, more and more, and this is part of the Heal Scotland mission, is to help people understand that you can move in a way. Yes, I'm big in talk therapies as well, but we know if people have been under extreme trauma, they don't want to talk. But moving can really be that thing. An amazing girl coming to Tarbert, the Sunshine Movement, she's called, Emma, and she basically healed herself through dance and movement and music. And more again, we're understanding now that we're designed to dance, we're designed to move. It's not a competition at all. It's not who can do it best. It's mental, the way we look at things. And dance, I think, because I've only done Drew yoga, and it's been with you both times. I think it's 2 or 3 times I've done it now. My memory of it was very flowing. Would you say that's something that made it a wee bit different? I knew I was doing a different kind of yoga.
Yeah, it is more flowing. So you generally, quite often in those sequences, you're flowing through postures without realising. So, and you're just working very much with the breath, so that you can connect the breath to the movement. Let that prana or life force lead the way. Let it do the work through movement, and it allows the monkey mind to have a wee rest for a while when you're busy focusing on something else. So it's a lovely way to do that.
Well, exactly that. I mean, it's a distraction, isn't it? You're saying, instead of thinking about this, I'll move over here and think about this and do this and move like this. And also, we know with the fascia, the meridians, all the internal organs, the nervous system, and obviously utilising the breath very consciously, all of that. We've been doing Love Your Liver and Lymph Month. That's been the challenge for Heal Scotland and on socials this month. And it's made me realise, because obviously we're very much about, you need to see everything as a whole and stop trying to go, you need vitamin A and vitamin B and vitamin D, and you get, what I mean? It's just like, no, it's a big energy system. It's electromagnetic, it's biological, it's physiological, and you can't separate your shoulder from your hand or your knee. You know what I mean? It's all working in unison. And because we've been focusing on the liver, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many ways. For example, a yoga pose, a qigong pose, a visualization, a color, a meridian, tapping, packing, moving. You're just like, it's brilliant. It's actually been really eye-opening for me to realize, every time you do these things, you're helping your cells, which obviously.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I couldn't believe it when I discovered that, different yoga poses support different organs within the body, and different movements are helping, clear out toxins and move things through. It was fascinating. And I love that whole ancient science behind it.
Absolutely. And, you know, even with take the liver again, you know, a green in colour, and the wood element, and spring, you know, where everything's coming back to life, and the kind of detox, and it's time now to move the toxins through. And there's so many, and obviously the breath work as well is just so powerful for that. And it's really, you know, it's just hearing that information enough times that you really, really get it. Don't you find that?
Well, some of it sticks eventually. That's how I
know.
I've kind of dabbled in so many different things, and then I can reread my notes and go, oh, I don't even remember somebody telling me that, but I've written it down. It was obviously important. And then it's like finding another layer to take in, and it's fantastic. But you mentioned dance earlier on, and I totally agree with you about how that movement. And I think when I was in my teens, it was dance that allowed me to release completely. You know, it was my connection to my emotions. It was, you know, teenage years, and it's totally allowed me to move through that. And I didn't realize that that's what that movement was essentially doing at the time. It's only with hindsight. And through the Drew yoga, I was able to build the confidence to go back and retrain with dance. And because I'd stopped, you know, it's, adults don't do that. That's for kids. At the time, there was no classes. So I left all that part of my life, and it's been really interesting being able to reconnect with that essential soul part for me, because I danced, you know, up until I was 20 and then stopped.
And that's what we do. Why do we stop? Why do we stop singing and dancing? And, you know, I mean, I was a big clubber, and I knew I loved it. I loved that. There was certain music, certain DJs, I just loved it. I knew it was affecting my brain in some way. There was some innate kind of tribal, the drums, I've always loved that. The body was recognizing somewhere there, but it's almost like, you shouldn't be doing that. And why do we always do it in the middle of the night? Why are we not day dancing?
I know. We've got such a fear of being seen, I think. And I noticed, you know, in my yoga journey, that whole, you know, for work, when I was doing community development, I stand up front of the conference, talk about work. These are trees. This is how we work with them. This is whatever. And here's how to run your business, build your community, blah, blah. But to do that as a yoga practitioner was really scary, because it's a vulnerable side that's personal. And I think that, you know, when we do that ourselves, I always try and encourage people to take their yoga outside, because it's amazing. You can do it in your wellies and waterproofs. You don't need all that fancy kit. You don't need a mat. You don't need all the props. You just need yourself and your breath, and you can practice anywhere. But we're all scared of being caught outside, giving it, what am I doing? I'm waving my arms around. And I'm always like, you'll inspire others, because it's so beautiful to watch, you know, like groups of people doing Tai Chi in the parks and stuff.
I know, exactly. You, remember years ago when I was in Canada, I was doing a massive detox because I'd taken vaccinations to go to India, and I was very unwell after it. And when I got to Canada, I went in a very strict detox, and I was at this party, and this guy came up and asked me to sing the yodeling song, which, as you know, is one of my party pieces. I said, I don't sing sober, and I certainly don't sing before 2 a.m. And he was like, but it's my birthday. And I was like, oh, Christ. And it's his house and it's his party. I better. So that was the first. And I thought, I don't even know if I can yodel sober. This is like, I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. But I got the guitar out, and of course I could sing. I could yodel much better. Funnily enough.
Nice.
Aye. And I thought, God, isn't that interesting that you were needing, or you believed you were needing the alcohol? Of course, now I jump about when, you know, and sing and dance and don't give a shit. That's definitely something that's come with age. And being able to, but it is that whole, like, why would you not dance? As soon as the music comes on, you're just up because of other people looking at you. It's crazy, isn't it? Or this idea that we need the Dutch courage, you know, which is, again, I think, as more and more people, I don't know if you're seeing it in yours, and certainly in my circles, more and more people giving up alcohol, certainly to the degree that we used to, think had to happen every weekend. There's more and more people saying, no, I'm not doing that now. It's not making me feel great. And so what are we going to do then? We need to be able to sing, and we need to be able to dance, you know, because that's going to keep us well. It's going to keep moving the body. What better way to exercise than putting on your favourite music and dancing to it? and how good it is for the brain, and even movements like spinning round. And that's why I want to do a Kaylee revival, the spinning and the moving, instead of, standing, having to do it deliberately, just doing it naturally.
Yeah,
and the
it's spinal health, moving your spine in different ways, and you do that naturally when you jump around.
Absolutely. And that's exactly it. It's that whole use it or lose it, and especially for women, because we know if you lose your proprioception, which is quite simply just the message that's saying you're going out off balance here, then when you lose that proprioception, you can fall, you can break your hip, and then all sorts of problems ensue from that. So whereas a little bit of Shakti dance, yes, Janet's there. Hi, Janet. It's just something that we should all be doing. And the other thing that I always think is, who said it had to be an hour? Because I think psychologically that can put people off. Do it for 10 minutes.
I'm wholeheartedly with you. If I set myself, I'm going, and I'm a yoga practitioner, so I'm supposed to be up there at dawn for an hour and a half, giving it all of that. If I set myself up to do that, I'm setting myself up to fail, and I recognise that. So I totally sneak it in, get up, do a bit of meditation, maybe work with my tuning forks, maybe do some mantra work, maybe light a candle, and then throughout the day start using the movement. And it's all about, I'll do some stretches, put my socks on. There's ways of putting that in, and like you say, you hear a track on the radio and think, oh, I love that, I'm going to jump about a bit. Oh, I'm outside, can breathe in that fresh air. Oh, that reminds me to do my breathwork practice. There's so many ways of sneaking it in that it becomes a way of life.
That's the thing. I went into my aunt's room this morning. I said, "You all right?" She said, "Yeah, I'm just doing my breathing exercises." I said, "Yes." In her 90th year, it's just fantastic that she's, she knows now if she wakes up feeling any kind of anxiety, she just breathes and she can change it. And really, we should all know that information we should not have to pay for. And movement. And I mean, obviously, it's, you go to people's classes and you get the benefit of their energy, and there has to be an exchange for that. But really, this stuff, we can do it ourselves. If you don't have time, if you don't have a babysitter, if you don't have money, there's no excuse now. We've got YouTube, and I learn so much as I try to go to Rumble more because they're a much more open platform. But really, we need to be singing and dancing a lot more than we are. And that's going to be part of our healing journey.
I think you're right. And I think a lot of us have lost our voice. I know when I first started to teach yoga, I found it quite an edge, quite a scary thing to do. And I did loads of work around my whole throat center and that whole chakra or energy center to try and free that up. I'd had loads of chest infections as a kid, and that whole family history of it and stuff. So I feel like I spent a long time trying to clear some of that. And I've, that's been a journey in itself. But I found that working with, trying to chant or do sound, or because you get shut down at school. Oh, you've got to sing in front of everyone aged 11. Oh my God, what do we do to ourselves? And then, you do that. Somebody just makes one wee comment and that's it. We've gone. And it's, that voice is off. So how do we refine that? And it's only through, like the work with the tuning forks, the work with sound, learning to work with mantra, that I've actually been able to try and make a start to do that and release that and find a voice. Because if I can't find a voice, how can I encourage others?
We're talking about that. You need to walk your walk. And that's how we're talking from a place of experience. Now, you and I really became friends. We'd known each other for a long time, but doing family constellations with Vida, who's also going to be in Skye. And we know the power of that work. But also, it takes ovaries to do this work. You have to be able to look at your shadow side, own your shit, be honest, and all of that. And also a willingness, I think. I love Joe Dispenza says that our memories are at best 50% accurate. So a lot of the stuff that we think we're remembering might not even be true. And, I know that's people have had different traumas in the background, some a lot worse than others. And I've had a few kind of obvious ones, but nothing like I know some people have gone through, but still find that really helpful. What if that was never true? And you've been
amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I can have conversations with my sister, and we both were brought up in the same house, but you'd think we came from two different backgrounds because we remember different bits, and I'll be going, I don't remember that at all. And she'll be like, oh yeah, oh, you did this.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And we do that as well, because obviously I'm 1 of 6, and over the years the stories grow arms and legs in different directions, and you're kind of like going, that never even happened. But anyway, as long as it's funny, I don't mind.
Exactly. That'd be a good story.
So Jeanette, I'm seeing you there, and I was thinking you need to come for the opening ceremony on Friday. So it's at 1 o'clock. So try and get there, and then you'll be able to see Janice as well, and then Stuart. Jeanette was wanting to come and hear Stuart's talk on Friday.
Oh, that'll be amazing.
Skye. So tell us what workshop you're bringing to Skye.
Oh yeah, so I'm bringing my some Drew yoga, and I'm bringing some sound. So we're going to work with the elements, because what better place than up in Skye, in amongst the Cuillins, that vast landscape, surrounded by water on an island, to just look and focus on the elements. So I like to kind of theme things, and of course our bodies are made up of the elements. So we're going to do some movements that connect us to those elements within us. We'll do some movements to release some of the tension that we hold in our bodies, and work with a sequence potentially that kind of connect us with all the different aspects of the landscape as well. I'm really into that land connection. We live in this amazing planet. How do we honor that as a way of honoring ourselves? And yeah, and then I'm going to blend some sound in. So I've got my elemental sound pipes, which I'll be bringing. I might bring some other toys as well, my Native American style flutes, and a few other things.
Now, since I can't get that very busy woman Rose on, who's bringing her tuning forks, could you want, just for people that are coming to Skye, give a little description of what forking for life, forking for health?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be an amazing workshop. I'll be helping in the background, and I trained as a sound therapist with Rose. So yeah, tuning forks. So they look like this. and they give that vibration. So it's a bit like the same as we work with mantra. It's about how do we set the vibration. You talked about we're electromagnetic beings. We pick up on the energy that's happening around us. So tuning forks are a really beautiful way of just bringing a sense of balance to the vibration that we are. And we can work with different frequencies that balance those different aspects. And our bodies and our energy field will only pick up what we need. So they can sound different. They can sound different to each side of the body. And when we play them, so you hold it in your, we'll see. I don't know if that works down through the system.
Not really.
No, but you work with them, and then you're working with them around your body's field. And this is the Om frequency, 136.10 hertz. And it's very grounding. Obviously Om, when we chant that, connects us to the universe, said to be the sound of the universe, and connects us to ourselves, to the elements, to the earth, very grounding, and to our own kind of heart center. So this frequency is also the heart chakra frequency in one of the chakra sets. So it's got that dual purpose, which is quite nice. And I think we'll be working with this one in Rosie's workshop.
Fantastic. Maria's asking, can people bring instruments? Absolutely. We and Sue Callie's going to be coming to Tarbert as well. Yeah. So she's going to be singing heart. I just love her workshops.
Her workshops are amazing. She's such a wonderful person. And she's really helped me because, like I said, I don't particularly like to find my voice, but, Sue's embraced, that, and she's really supportive, and I found it just a wonderful way to get singing.
Yes, great. Well, listen, that's awesome. And, it's only 2 weeks and Friday. I was like, that Skye's away, it's and that land on that island is just incredible. So if people are coming or thinking of coming, try and get a day either side. So if you've never been to explore, go to the fairy pools. I actually met somebody who said that there's other pools that are really quiet she's going to take me to. So I'm very excited to get there and immerse myself in the mountains. And, obviously, I lived in Malta. I feel there's something about island energy. I don't know whether it's because the sea goes right round and keeps it a bit clearer. There's just something magical about islands.
Yeah, there is. There was a book years ago, I think, called The Healing Islands that was about the Hebrides. Right. And yeah, a lot of people have commented on that in the past. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I think there
thanks.
probably is something to do with the negative ions and the energy off the sea and the salt and those mountains.
Yeah, the circuit going round you at the mountains. I mean, the coolings, oh my God, jaw-dropping. Anyway, listen, I can't wait to see you there. And thank you so much for being part of the festival and also for giving me your time this morning. And I look forward to giving you a hug soon.
Absolutely. Listen, have an amazing festival this weekend.
I will do.
I'll be with you in spirit.
Yeah, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Ciao.